All right, everybody. Glad to be here this morning. Hope you all had a great day yesterday. Hope you were able to figure out what your fears are that are holding you back from getting where you want to go. So at this point, I hope you've written down some of your goals, where you want to go in life, why those are your goals, why you wake up every day, and what's holding you back from getting there. What are those obstacles? What are those objections, those fears that aren't allowing you to get to where you want to go? If you haven't do that, I highly encourage you to look at doing so. And when you do, if you haven't already, or even if you have, really go back and evaluate those. Like, were you honest with yourself, or were you kind of dressing it up? It's a very, very difficult thing to look yourself in the mirror and accept who you are, not the good parts of who you are and what you like about yourself, but it's difficult to accept the parts you don't like about yourself. We try to hide those and push those under the rug, but in order to grow, in order to get better at anything in life, we have to be able to accept that we aren't who we want to be in certain areas, or we aren't where we want to be, because at that point, we can figure out where we are, who we are, and figure out what we need to do to get to where we want to be. Buddy of mine, I saw Taylor Ware. He's doing a fitness company now. I believe it's called Grit. Check him out. He's got some great exercises and things like that. He did a little bit yesterday on self-awareness, and in his video, that was a lot of what he talked about, was truly digging down deep and looking at who you are, and the dirt, getting your hands dirty and doing that. So definitely check him out on that. But back to where we're going today is, that glass half full, glass half empty, or pessimism, optimism, realism. I've got a great story that I learned a few years ago. It's not mine. I'm probably gonna botch it a little bit, but just want to be able to throw that out to you guys. And it's powerful to tell you the difference between that optimism and pessimism in the same situation. I learned this when I was going through kind of a training session. It was a blitz, if you will, 1 week training. I mean, you're talking seminars, hands-on learning, role play, all of this stuff, and sales for door-to-door sales of educational books for a company called Southwestern. It was summer in between my freshman and sophomore year of college. I really didn't know who I was at that time. Life had been quite easy for me up to that point from being blessed growing up. I always worked hard in different areas growing up, but things also came easy to me as well. So I never really had to face the music until this summer, where I went through this door-to-door sales program. You're talking about knocking door to door. I was down in Texas, in Houston, midsummer, and that'll make a Indiana country boy wake up real quick when you throw him in that Texas heat, adding in that humidity. It was an eye opener, and you put someone in those conditions, plus a job where they're knocking on doors every day, and you have people peeking through the windows, the curtains. You have people saying, "Oh, no one's home." Okay, you just answered me, but I gotcha. Cool, thanks. There were a lot of challenges. You'd have angry people coming out just because you were on their sidewalk. That didn't happen as often, but there were also a lot of great and beautiful things that came out of that. I got to meet a lot of great people. People that I almost consider family today. Stayed in touch with some of them because they really helped me through some of that as well. The biggest thing is when I was in the middle of that was positive self-affirmations, telling myself that I could get through it. And that's something that I hadn't really heard of until I got to this point. And I tell you, that's what's helped me through a lot of things in life to date, is being able to motivate myself when I don't have someone else there pushing me. And I'll tell you, if that's not something you do today, I would highly recommend starting to talk to yourself, telling yourself that you can do it, pushing yourself through things instead of telling yourself or feeling sorry for yourself. Do the opposite, because it can take you from here to here instead of here to here. Very important. So, pessimism, optimism. The story that I heard is, there are two little boys. One's an extreme optimist, one's an extreme pessimist, and their parents take them to this research doctor who they hope can help figure out why their boys are so extremes, because these boys are twins raised in the same home, but they're both at opposite ends of the spectrum. So they take him to him, and he talks with them for a little bit, takes one of the boys to a room where there are all the toys in the world. And they take the pessimist. They set him in the middle of this room. Said, here you go, bub. You sit here, play with any toy you'd like. We'll be back in a half an hour or 15 minutes. Well, whatever it is. And they leave him there. They shut the door, and they think, God, he's going to love it in there. Then they take the other boy, the extreme optimist. They put him in a room with a pile of horse manure sitting in the middle of the room. That's all there is. And they say, here you go, hang out, we'll be back in 15 minutes. So they shut the door, and they watch the clock, come back about 15 minutes later. They go to the extreme pessimist first. And they open the door, and he's sitting in the middle of the room with his arms folded and just a pouty look on his face. And they say, look, Johnny, why are you so upset? You have all these toys here. Why are you sitting in the middle of the room? I'm afraid I'll get hurt. What? Why don't you get on the rocking chair? I'm afraid it'll break. Well, why don't you play with a balloon? I'm afraid it'll pop in my face. Why don't you play with a ball? I'm afraid that I'll break something. And they just can't wrap their heads around it. He's thinking about the worst situation that happens with anything. So they're like, all right, come with us. Then they open the door to the extreme optimist, who's in this room full of horse manure, mind you. They open the door, and all of a sudden they see him sitting in the middle of this pile of manure, flinging it all over the place. There's manure on the walls, on the ceiling, all over the floor. Like, what are you doing? It's hilarious. He goes, with all this manure, there has to be a pony somewhere. So, it goes back to show how the power of the mind is so important in life, right? Like, the extreme optimist didn't want to play with anything because he thought he'd get hurt or break something. The extreme optimist, he was digging through manure because he knew that it came from a pony, and if there's manure there has to be a pony somewhere. So I love that story because it just goes to tell you the importance of you stepping out of your situation and telling yourself, I can do this. Look for the positive in every situation. Push yourself forward. Really, truly think about what you want out of life and look for that in every situation. And I promise you, good things will come of that. Don't be the kid that sits in a room with everything you could possibly imagine having and with a pouty face. I've been very blessed to be successful in my career. I have a lot of things. And for a while I thought that just chasing the money and buying all the toys I wanted was going to make me happy. I own a home, like I have a nice vehicle, I own a motorcycle, like I've got so many toys, like, and this isn't to brag, but this is to show, like, I bought all these things because I wasn't really thinking about it. Like, I was successful, I was raking in cash, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to really be able to get everything I want and keep moving forward. And I tell you what, I got all those things, and I was still not happy at one point. And I had to face the music and ask, why was I doing what I was doing? You know, was I doing it for these things, or is there something else behind it? And when I truly sat back and looked at my situation, I realized the whole reason that I love being in sales is because I love helping people. Like, you know, the other thing that makes me successful is that every time that I have a customer and I have something that I've told them I'll do, I find a way to do it. No matter what that takes on my end, I find a way to do it, or I explain to them the situation immediately and figure out with them how we can get through it. So, I don't remember where I was going with that, but I found my why and why I'm in sales and why I wake up every day. It's for the people around me. And that's what makes me happy, not the things that I get from that, right? So when I remember that why, that I love helping the people around me, and that's why I wake up, I remember that, I can go back to, this is why I'm doing this. Keep pushing forward. You've got this, Matt. Like, you're doing this for the people around you. I tell you, that's a powerful, powerful, powerful thing. You know, there's a lot of little tips and tricks, a lot of other things that I've learned, especially with that internship that summer. So if you are looking into this and you want some ideas, if you want some things to help you get motivated in the morning, to help you push forward, start off on the right foot, which is very important, I can help you with that. Message me, leave a comment, hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, you know, Snapchat, wherever. But let's find a way to help you motivate yourself through each and every day to get through your situations. So that's all I've got for today, guys. Remember, like, be that optimist in every situation. Don't be the kid in the middle of the room with the pouty face with everything that you can imagine. It's not going to get you where you want to go. Trust me, I've been there. I've lived it. You want to figure out why you're doing it so that you can truly love it and help yourself push through those days that aren't as easy as the others that are fun. So thank you. Have a great day. Get after it and tell yourself you can do it, because you got this today. Come on, let's go.